Hello, and welcome to Creative Catch-Up, a podcast where three friends catch up and chat about running a creative business.
Each episode, Mel, Natasha and Crixis will be diving into a topic that has come up in their own creative practice.
We'll be sharing our experiences, both ups and downs, struggles and successes, and hopefully give some advice that will help you along the way.
So join us for Season 3, Episode 4 as we chat about creative burnout, the warning signs, how to watch out for it, and the things we can do to help us create when we're not feeling the best. Hello!
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 How is everyone doing?
Should we do like a quick catch-up?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, how are you, Mel?
To be honest, quite exhausted after finishing a week of open studios, although it was brilliant. It was really nice. But I've just had to catch up on a lot of things. So client deadlines have kind of piled up, and then just other work as well. Doing a YouTube video about it, which was, I thought, important to get out. But it does mean that I am feeling a little bit exhausted. And also it's my birthday this week, so tomorrow is my birthday.
Yeah.
Yay!
I hope you're taking the day off and you're going to do something special.
Yes, I am. But in order to do that, I have to make sure I've given myself space to do it. So
I know this feeling, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to taking the day off. My parents have actually just come down as well, so they're going to go out with us and
that's lovely.
Have a meal out somewhere and enjoy the sunshine, because we've got sunshine down here at the moment.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, that's what's going on here. How about you guys, Natasha?
I'm settling back into life in Surrey after spending so much time in Suffolk, because I was in Suffolk last time we spoke. And yeah, I'm just trying to juggle all of the various things that I'm working on and deal with the extreme heat that we have at the moment. So yeah, that's a bit of a challenge for me. I have to try not to overdo it because it can sometimes cause migraines, but I'm okay, and I'm enjoying working large again on canvas.
Oh,
so that's
exciting.
what I'm busy doing this week in the studio.
I saw the artwork you have been working on. I really like the snow part. I just saw that you added snow.
Yes, I did that this morning, and thank you. Yeah, I think it's coming together now. It was like it wasn't quite right, and then I'm just adding the final touches, and now it's kind of coming together. So yeah, I'm happier now.
I think the sky together with that snow and the tree, the palettes together, it's really wintry. And it's such a funny thing because now it's summer, but it's actually, I think it's refreshing, right?
Oh, it is.
To work on winter scene.
It's like I'm sitting there sweltering and working on a winter scene. So thinking of the nice, cool snow.
I like it.
So what have you been up to, Crixis?
I'm still working on Birds in Color Challenge. I'm almost at the end of it. I think I have 3 more prompts to go. And you know what? I wanted to make bird book, but now I really want to return back to Fox Story, which I worked last summer. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of in a dot stage. I have doubtful thoughts.
Do you mean doubt?
Right.
Do you mean doubtful?
Doubt. Oh yeah, doubt. Yeah, doubtful.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so happy that we have English speaking artists here in this podcast. Yeah, so I'm a little bit doubtful about it, but I actually thought maybe I will make a calendar from these bird illustrations for 2024.
Yeah, that could be lovely. I can really imagine them as a calendar.
Yeah, so that kind of challenge, and I really want to work more with watercolors, and I just love watercolors. I think it's so bold to say, but I think it's my favorite medium now.
Wow.
And
I'm not surprised. I'm so happy to hear you say that. I knew your work would be great in watercolors once you really got into them, and I love what you're doing.
Thank you. So yeah, all the way for watercolors.
Definitely.
Should we mention about also our autumn joint show coming up?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes, please. Finally, it's the time to reveal this super exclusive news from all of us three. And we are going to participate together. Drum roll.
What is?
And we will have exhibition together, all of us three, which is super exciting, right?
Yay!
It is. It's really exciting. I can't wait to see the work you're making for it.
What are the dates? Do you want to give us the dates?
Yeah, so the exhibition will be from 7th till 30th of October, and it will be in Cornwall. So if you are ever going to visit Cornwall, this is the time to visit. This is like this year from 7th till 13th of October, and it's in Coast Color Canvas Gallery, and it's in Roskilde Farm. And you can have a chat with us in person or see our work and have a good time there.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be calling it Nature's Palette.
If we are all up for it,
We
of course.
definitely are, yeah. I love that. Yeah, I think it's a great title.
Yeah, so it will be inspired by nature and everything around us. So,
Which is something that links all of our work.
I feel like that's a word just really all of us three kind of, it just like, yeah, this is like how it should be.
yay!
Because we are all like inspired by nature.
Yeah.
Okay, so get that in your diary.
Or Mel will be after
We
you.
are waiting. Yeah, like we are waiting for you to write, and then we will continue with the podcast.
Okay, so on to today's topic, creative burnout. So we have a few questions that we can ask each other and just talk about this topic, which I think all of us have had experience of at some point. What is creative burnout? This is something I found actually a description of from an artist, Lindsay Brayman, and she has done some infographics actually on this topic, and her description of it was a depletion of mental and physical resources.
That's a good description of it, yeah.
Because sometimes it's hard to actually work out what it is or describe it, you know? So
true.
have you experienced it, and how did you know you had it?
Over to you, Natasha.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, we will be quiet.
Okay, yes. Yes, I have experienced it. I think I've been on the edge of it a few times throughout my career. But in July 2021, I was ill for an entire month. And I think that it was possibly creative burnout. I remember that I'd worked really hard in the June of that year. And I think combined with the heat of summer and the fact that I was making a lot of YouTube videos at that time. And
how many did you like?
It was crazy. I think this was the month where I made the most YouTube videos I've ever uploaded. I think it was 9.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's like 2 videos in a week almost.
Yeah. Because I
wow.
kind of had made up my mind to do that. I thought I'll just see whether I can do as many as possible this month, which, you know, now I only do about 2 a month. So, but obviously I have Patreon now. So, yeah, I'm doing some on there as well. But yeah, it was just too much. I remember I had a shop update as well. So it was when I'd finished recording all of those videos, and then I had kind of fulfilled all of the orders from the shop update, and finally everything was done, and I just didn't feel well. I remember feeling like I was coming down with something, so I felt really run down and just generally ill, and I felt like that for a few days, and I kept trying to carry on. And then I got struck down with a terrible migraine. I felt so ill. And that went on for another few days. And to cut a long story short, the migraine started easing, and then I got tonsillitis.
Oh, yeah, I remember you saying.
Oh, it was horrible. I think I've never really, I think maybe there's one other time in my life where I felt that bad. And that was many years ago. And I ended up having to take a 10-day course of antibiotics. And they did really help, but they also caused problems in themselves. So then I was left to deal with that as well. And I was so depleted and I couldn't really do anything for a month. And I remember kind of reaching the end of July, finishing the course of antibiotics. I'd pretty much spent most of the month in bed. So that's really unlike me. I hadn't been able to work. I had something really important to do as well. I remember I had the first Flexi Spot collaboration to do. I was meant to be filming that, but I had to just be really honest with them and tell them what was happening. And they were really good about it. But yeah, it was difficult. It was a really hard time.
Did you think at the time you had burnout, or did you just think you were ill?
Yeah, it was very difficult to tell. And I think at first I thought, oh, I've just come down with something. But because it was one thing after another, and I think in order to come down with the tonsillitis, I think I was just so exhausted. I was exhausted and run down. And I'm pretty sure it was because I had done so much the month before.
Yeah.
And I felt like this a few times, kind of on the edge of it, as I say, throughout my career, but I've never had it like that. And it's actually made me really scared to get it again.
Yeah, I was thinking probably in some kind of way also the way you felt unwell, it was also connected with anxiety, and it seems like everything piled up together, like the health issues and the overworking, and I think your body just wanted to tell you to kind of slow down and take a break.
I think this is it. It's like if you don't stop, your body's going to make sure you do stop. That's how I feel, yeah.
Have you experienced it, Crixus?
Oh yeah. I'm not sure if I experienced a lot of art burnouts. I think my burnout, I want to connect it more with filming burnout. Because when I had the burnout, I was still painting. I was just not promoting my work online that much.
Right.
And my burnout, I think it was, there were some signs before, but I just ignored them in a way. And I didn't listen to myself. And this is so ridiculous. I filmed 1.5 years without breaks. I filmed every single week. And that's 83 weeks of every single week. And I was because I was working in part-time job before, whenever I was studying, and then I did picture book with the American author. And then I was I want to make this work. I want to be full-time artist, and I'm gonna do as much and as many things as possible to make it work for me. Yeah. And I was I'm just gonna publish so many videos. I want to grow and just do what I love. And I was slowly kind of going into completely different direction. And I remember in that summer, I realized I'm too afraid also to stop even for a week, because I thought if I will stop and I will not film in that week, that's it. Yeah. Everyone will forget that I even posted something.
I totally understand this because I struggle with this now. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really scary, and I felt like I'm really dependent on posting things. And when I realized that I have the burnout, because I realized and I actually filmed the video and I said that I have it, I was just day before I was I have 2 days I need to film something and I remember I was okay, what should I do? Okay, I'm just gonna film video where I draw whatever I want. And I actually started recording that video, and I was at the end of the day I was no, actually no, something is completely wrong. Something is different. Like, I cannot do and continue like I do right now. I need to kind of really kind of journal a little bit and talk to myself and see like what's happening beyond
Yeah.
the things I'm doing in that moment.
Yeah. I mean, I think I suffered from creative burnout back in, I think it was slowly building really. And I think like a lot of these burnouts, they sometimes, they feel like they come from nowhere, but actually you can see in hindsight what caused it, or the build-up of it, of a number of different things. But yeah, I remember just getting to a point where I was no longer feeling joy about creating. Everything was becoming quite a chore, and I put so much pressure on myself to make something work. This was like before I had a YouTube channel, before I was doing that. We had unfortunately had suffered a loss. A young person in our youth group had died quite quickly from lung cancer, which was just unexpected.
Oh my goodness.
And we just had to deal with that. And then I was trying to make my screen printing business work. And that was just a lot of hours put into printing things and finding stockists and selling through that. And then also I was trying to build an illustration business, trying to get clients through that. And it was just a lot of things I was trying to juggle. And I just thought the answer to it was to keep working harder.
It sounds so familiar, honestly.
Yeah, so I just came to a point where it's like I just lost my joy really for creating, and everything. I just felt so much pressure to try and earn a living from what I was making. And I think when you start putting that pressure on, you're no longer able to produce things that are really, they just feel they're not connected to you, and it's too much pressure really to put on you, and everything starts then to just go a bit grey, and just you no longer feel like you can be as productive. You just lose the energy as well. So even chores then begin to get difficult to do. You start procrastinating about things, and simple things that like even booking a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment is really difficult when you're in that. I know that's not even related to the creative side, but those kind of decisions that impact it. When you're in this place of I can't do this, simple things it's really hard to do. I did a massive show. I think I did a really big show, and I thought that would have been the pinnacle. I was like, yeah, I've made it now, but actually it just highlighted this is not right, something's not right. And I think not long after that, Tony and I, we made the decision that we were going to move, and I knew I had to shut down my screen printing business and just focus on one thing at a time. I just had taken on too many things, so yeah. You, Crixus, you said that you spotted some signs. What kind of signs do you think there were that you might have been heading towards burnout?
I feel like you just kind of explained a little bit the feeling of it, that you don't feel that joyful anymore about something you maybe possibly previously loved. And I really love making videos, but I think in that moment, even like some weeks before I was like, yeah, actually this is like happening right now, I felt like, you know what, I actually don't enjoy this filming part anymore. Or, I feel like that was kind of a little indication that maybe it's not that I don't enjoy it anymore. It's just like I have done it too much, too often, and just focusing on different things. And I think that was one of the signs.
Yeah.
Have you noticed, Natasha, any signs before?
Yeah, I think for me, I think a feeling of being really overwhelmed and anxious. I noticed that. I noticed kind of the mental signs of it. And also just feeling generally tired and run down. So you maybe don't have the same enthusiasm that you had before. And even if you do have the desire to do things, I remember even when I was feeling really ill, I had the desire to, I still, like, my brain was still trying to be creative, but my body couldn't do it. So yeah. I had to kind of accept that and give in and rest. But yeah, I think before it happened, I would say, the warning signs for me now are if I'm starting to feel overly anxious, I'm not sleeping very well at night, that kind of thing, feeling just generally overwhelmed, like I've got too much on my plate kind of thing. Yeah.
Sleep, definitely, I think. And for me, I was getting like horrendous nightmares.
Oh, really?
During that time, I just remember I had these waking nightmares where, I thought someone was in the room, or I thought like...
that's awful.
And I would wake up screaming, and Tony would be like,
man,
what is going on? I was like...
Oh dear, I bet that was a shock.
Yeah, I mean, I have been known to sleepwalk, so that's always been there. But just during that time, it was like ramped up. It was just like, I think my brain was trying to, work out what was going on, and that's how it came out. So that's definitely a sign.
I was going to say, you do a lot of processing, don't you? Your brain does a lot of processing while you sleep. So, it was coming out in that way for you.
Yeah. So we've got a question, like, what happens when you reach bottom? And I think we've kind of talked about that. But should we try to keep going?
I would say no. not like in the same rhythm and pace you have been going, especially.
Yeah.
I think it is good to kind of slow down and kind of reflect and see the reasons and why you are there. And for me, like, because it was more connected with filming, I didn't felt that I'm not capable of creating art. I was just doing it and not sharing it, and it felt so good. And I felt like finding something that kind of still brings you joy, even if you are at the bottom. That's how you say bottom?
Yeah.
I think like it's good to kind of see what still brings you joy, although I know it's maybe impossible, and especially if you have like creative burnout, which is connected with like art making, then maybe doing some kind of different hobby could help, and going for walks is good, and journaling or writing things down. I don't journal a lot, but when I am in like super critical moments, I do write some things out just to kind of reflect and see the reason behind. So, yeah.
Yeah, and this question of should you try to keep going, I think the temptation is there to keep going, isn't it? Because it's like with me, I felt like, oh my goodness, I've got so many things on this month, I need to do them, and if I stop, I'm going to fall behind with everything, and of course that causes another stress. So the temptation is there to carry on, but I really think that you shouldn't, when you've reached a stage of burnout and you know that you are burnt out. So yeah, it's a good idea to stop before it gets too bad. And I've just been honest with people, really. I think that was a really good lesson for me at that time when I couldn't do anything else and I just had to be, resting, and I was like in bed, and I just had to say to people, look, this is what's happened and I'm afraid I can't, work this month. So I made sure I rested a lot, and I did other things that kind of fueled my creativity, if that's the right way of putting it. Like, I remember joining somebody's Patreon and really just watching all of their videos and making notes for when I was better, the things I wanted to do, the materials I wanted to try, all of that kind of stuff. So it was kind of like a nice time for planning, really, planning for when I was better again. And it gave me a little boost. I kind of when I was feeling really down and really ill, I would think about when I was better and what I was going to do and what I had to look forward to.
It's funny because I started my YouTube channel just, I think, as we were beginning to move. And so you can see me packing down stuff and trying to sell stuff. But it was like when we moved to Porthleven, and I've been there a few days or maybe longer, a few weeks. But I just started looking around me and I started to get the urge to draw again, whereas I hadn't been sketching at all. That wasn't something I did. And that just brought me so much joy again, just like going out and drawing and going out on my own when no one else was around, no pressure, no one to tell me how to do it. Although I enjoy doing client work, I think because I just had that client work, I didn't have any time where I could just play and do it myself. I think maybe that was causing me a bit of, distress. So actually going out and finding something that I could say, oh, I'm really loving doing this and it's on my own time. I could go out every day. I didn't get bored of it. I had energy to do that. So that showed me actually sometimes you have to find something that really just gets you going. And that's what I found. And it was exciting to do. And I do it today, 6 years later, 7 years. I don't know how many years later now. But probably 6 years. So, and I find that if things are getting on top of me now, Tony will actually say to me, have you gone out and sketched?
Oh, that's nice.
He's seen it in me, so that's like, he knows what I need. So tomorrow, when it's my birthday, he said, you will take your sketchbook with you and you will sketch. So, and I was like, yeah, that's what I need. Because I know that when I do that, I will, forget about other pressures around me and enjoy the moment and also record the moment as well. Because every time you do tend to sketch, you kind of put those memories onto the paper. So,
yeah, it's like a journal in a way, isn't it? Yeah, it's nice that you have somebody who sort of recognises the importance of that for you and nudges you if they feel you're maybe not, going to do it. It's really good,
Kind of leading on, how do you start again? I know I just shared about sketching, and I think that really helped me start again because it gave me joy in things around me. So, but how about you two?
Funnily enough, that's actually how I started again as well. I grabbed a new sketchbook, and because I didn't have much energy at first, I was really depleted at the end of July, and I knew that I wanted to get back into work, but I could only do like an hour or two a day. And so I would grab my sketchbook and I just started drawing. And like you said, with no pressure, just enjoying sitting down with my supplies and playing around. And that's how I gradually sort of eased my way back into it again.
How about you, Crixus?
Well, for me, I stopped filming I think I didn't film 2 weeks. I remember I filmed that video. I said I will be back after a week or two. I went back after 3 weeks, I think. And it was good because I was like, I'm going to take longer rest. My plan was like to start filming bi-weekly videos, which would be much better for myself. And also I would find like more focus and not film just random things, but more like what I want to film and have a little bit extra time. And I was, meanwhile, I decided also sketching. It's so funny that all of us three kind of get back a little bit with sketching. And that was the period when I created Calmtober. And I was so excited, but I didn't want to tell anyone yet. And for like a week, I was like thinking about this Calmtober idea. And then I shared it and and I was going to prioritize more art making and kind of not being so anxious about lots of things because I have anxious mind and I'm sometimes overthinking and sometimes I'm like yeah, like sometimes my mind is just like rolling super fast.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I think just slowing down helped me a great deal, and just working on secret projects behind the scenes, and then sharing them later.
I think that's really good, actually. Kind of keeping part of maybe something for yourself then.
Yeah.
I still do it. I really recommend. And even like now, I switched off from social media for 2 days. It was so good.
Yeah,
It's
That's
just
a good
like,
idea.
yeah. So I really recommend also like to not share everything, and to have like some ugly sketches in sketchbook, or I don't know.
I've done a few of those lately.
That's good.
Nobody has seen them yet, but they might do.
Oh, props to ugly sketches. We need to create ugly art.
We definitely do, yeah.
Yeah. I think that actually I remember like, or if I remember going back, that's actually what the pressure was, that I felt that everything that I did had to be good, or it had to be able to make money from it. So it had to be good so I could sell it. And that mindset is just, it's a recipe, I think, for disaster, because you just end up it just takes away the joy of creating and playing, because if you think everything has to be to sell, you have no space. It just, yeah.
Or like everything has to be the perfect, finished, completed piece posted to social media.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure, isn't it, on somebody to feel like that? And I think this is the problem with social media. It kind of gets you into that mindset where I have to keep making things, like I have to be really prolific, and I have to keep posting, and everything I post has to look amazing, because it's that kind of feeling of competition, like when people, they're only sharing their best work, for example. And so you kind of feel this pressure to keep up, that type of thing. So I think it's really important to have work that you're just doing behind the scenes. It's just for you, and you're not feeling like you have to share it, or just take the pressure off.
Yeah.
Or like share ugly things as well. I have shared some artworks which I don't like, and it's like, oh, why do I share it? But then it's like, yeah, but like to show that other people also can share ugly art.
Yeah, I did a reel, I think it was it last month, where I showed something that had gone really wrong in my sketchbook.
Oh, yes.
And I talked about that, about, not everything has to be perfect. And I know that people tend to share the stuff that goes right. I thought it would be refreshing to share something that had gone completely wrong. And
oh, no, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got quite a good response. And I think it's because people can really relate to that. We all have stuff that goes wrong. It's impossible. You can't be an artist, and, not everything is going to be amazing all the time, and it's okay.
Yeah. You also don't discover things either if you always know what you're going to do. If you have it all mapped out ready, you kind of just follow that. You don't then discover how a material might work differently if it does something else, or kind of lose a bit of life.
So true.
Like, where's the excitement if you know exactly, what you're doing every time, and that everything's going to turn out brilliantly? Yeah, you wouldn't discover anything, would you? Because you just stick to that same formula.
So what things do you do to help you create when you're not feeling your best? Natasha, you did mention that actually, didn't you, a little bit?
I did, and I think what I would say is, just basically do work that is just for you with no pressure. Because if you're in a state of burnout and, you're feeling overwhelmed as it is, I think you just need to go slowly and be kind to yourself, and just, it could be anything. You could maybe, I don't know, just start with 1 or 2 supplies and just play around. I think keep it simple is probably a good idea when you're not feeling great and you just want to ease yourself back into it. And as I said, it's like a great time for looking through art books or watching YouTube videos, or even, I don't know, signing up to a course or something, not necessarily doing the course there and then, but like looking through it, watching the videos and getting yourself into that creative mindset again and getting yourself excited for creating and knowing that you can do that when you're feeling a bit better. I think that's what I think it's a time for planning.
Yeah, it's a good time for planning.
Yeah, also putting yourself into a more of a student mindset as well, rather than I know everything mindset. Because there's a lot of pressure when you have that mindset. But a student mindset, I feel like, oh yeah, let's experiment. Let's have a go at this or test this out. And
yeah, that's a fun mindset, isn't it, to be in?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I did planning for the Calmtober, so that took my mind off, like thinking about the burnout. I was just focusing on something else. But I think I want to mention also that not everything, when we are like really feeling not the best, it's connected with art. I think just taking also some time off and going for a walk, and also like doing some completely different hobby, or even like watching movies, or like Natasha mentioned books, but also like even if it's not connected with art, just continue living, but just a little bit slower. I think that is really important to, even whenever you will pick up in the stage where you don't feel the best, I just don't take so much things at that moment as well. Just live a little bit calmer in that period, because I think that way you can climb up quicker. Whereas if you pick up more work, it just drags a little bit longer, I think. And when I came back and I started filming again, and I had like this Calmtober, and I knew I will create art every second day, and I knew that I could just go back into burnout.
Yeah, that would be easily done. Yeah.
So I was like super slow also in October, in November. And I actually started filming a little bit more only like in December. So I was just a little bit slower even throughout when I felt a little bit better. But I just didn't want to like, okay, I think it's fine. And just like, suddenly take every single opportunity and work again. I
think you're right about just trying to take that pressure off and doing things in a small way. So I would... And definitely walking for me is probably one of the main things I like to do, just to get out of my head space. But on my walk, I will, take a little sketchbook. So not me thinking, right, I'm going to go and walk and I'm going to go and sketch. I'm just thinking, I'm just going to go and walk. But if I see something and the urge comes, then I'll take opportunity. I'll be like, okay, right. Get my sketchbook, let's do this. And it may be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but because I've taken it with me and it's not like a massive thing, then I can just, grab that opportunity if it comes. And then generally once I start that kind of thing, I then think, oh, I want to come out again. I want to do this again. Yeah. So it builds on it. But I just give myself grace, I guess. You're giving yourself space and grace to just enjoy something else. Enjoy just living rather than thinking everything has to be about making a living. You want to actually enjoy things around you, small things around you. Like you said,
Yeah, totally.
And maybe make a homemade meal, make a cake or something.
Oh, baking is a good idea.
Just take some time to do something else and enjoy it.
I kind of try to do in everyday life since the burnout happened. It's like I'm making sure now that I'm never working like that, so that I'm, working for a month and barely taking a day off. And I'm making sure now that we're trying to take like a full day off every week if we can, and we go and do something. This is Dominic and I. We go and do something really exciting. So we go off on a little adventure, and it can be visiting somewhere specific, or it can just be taking a picnic and going out for a walk in nature. It's just that break from the routine and just time to take care of yourself. And I think, like you said earlier, it's really important to spend some time in nature, to get away from your screen and get out of the house and just go and breathe in some fresh air and enjoy yourself and relax.
I just want to say the same. Like, I also have started having like one day completely in the nature and just going with my husband and doing like picnic or going for walks in like different areas and just exploring. It's so refreshing, and when you come back to the studio, it's like new inspiration and freshness as well, right, in your work.
It is, yeah. I found this too. It's like you come back and you feel like energized and super inspired. Yeah,
I find that I have to put boundaries, time boundaries on what I'm doing, so I won't work in the evening on anything. I'll just be like, right. So Tony is quite strict about this because, you know, he wants to make sure that I'm going to be well. So he's
he's looking out for you.
Yeah, he's just the perfect companion for you, because it sounds like just perfect that there is like person who can just like, that's it. You had enough, or like,
well, he'll be.
Here's the sketchbook.
He is strict about it. He's like, right, 5:30, you will stop, because he knows what I'm like. Because I will probably just keep going, and I need someone to actually give me a boundary, because I know I find that hard. So he'll like say, right, finish, right, we're going to eat. And then we're just going to do something different. You know, you're not going to work in the evening. So it helps me. I know I need that as well, because otherwise I just will try and keep going. And sometimes, like when there are projects that are like my course, that was quite intense, and I knew.
Did you stop at 5:30 on those days as well, or did
no?
you?
That's what I was going to say. There were some days when I was doing that we kind of had a negotiation. So like, we would like have.
So funny.
He would say, right, I'm going to make you dinner. Dinner's going to be ready. Okay, so you've got to come out for that. And then like after, like say I'll be eating and I knew I'd have to go back, he said, right, you can go out, but you back in an hour and a half. So it's like
so funny.
Some people would be some people would be like, oh, how can you live with that? But actually it's really what I need, and and it stops me kind of going over the top and just like, you know, just burning out. And I know what Tony's heart is in it. You know, I know that he wants the best for me. So I'm happy to follow that.
Yeah, I think boundaries are such an important thing. Like we were saying about taking a day off each week, or like you say, I mean, I think you're brilliant for not working in the evenings, because I'm terrible for that. I will quite often. The trouble, it takes me a while. I tend to do admin in like the beginning part of the day, and then I really warm up creatively a lot of the time sort of later on in the afternoon into the evening, and I have to be really careful not to just keep working until like 10 at night or something. So I make sure that I stop and we cook some nice dinner and we have that, but I don't think I'm very good at managing that. And I think this is a problem for me. So I really admire the system that you have going, Mel.
I was also going to say I really admire as well, because like both me and my husband, we both work from home, and both of us don't have any boundaries. So it's like,
this is Dominic and I.
Really, it's really like chaotic, you know, and just. That's why we now have like this day completely out, because it's like otherwise it would just be every single day the same kind of.
This is what we found.
Yeah.
This is why I literally had to get us the membership to English Heritage, and
We actually want to have also membership now to National Trust.
because
places.
we used to have National Trust. It's really, we might go back to National Trust actually when this one's run
Do
out.
you recommend?
I would.
In Cornwall, National Trust, because I think there's more properties in the area.
Yeah, I was going to say
Yes.
that. Yeah, it depends
Okay.
where you live. Yeah. But I feel like round here as well, there are more National Trusts than English Heritage. But English Heritage has been great because I love castles. And so we're a bit obsessed with castles. And so we've been to visit quite a few now.
Yes.
But now we have the historic royal palaces. I bought that as a gift to both of us for my birthday.
It's a good idea.
I thought I'll buy myself a present, but I want it to be something we can both enjoy. And so, and the reason I've done this is because if you have that membership, you really want to use it. So it's like no excuses, we're going and we're going to go to this place this week. And it's really fun because you can kind of plan your visits in advance and you have that to look forward to. You're going to do it. And it's just something out of the ordinary. And I'd really recommend it. It's definitely worth the investment.
Yeah, we are thinking about there was lifetime purchase.
Oh wow! Yeah, that.
But it's a little bit higher price. But if you will stay like in UK and you just want to have lifetime,
Yeah,
there's
it would be
option.
wonderful because some of these places, they're so amazing just to go to and like hang out. So it isn't like you visit once and then that's it. It can be a place that you visit over and over, and you could take your sketchbook and draw in the gardens. And it's fantastic, I think, for an artist to have something like this.
Definitely.
I feel like it sounds like the perfect cure against the burnout. Like it's like it sounds like just something you could do to just avoid the burnout. Because if you visit outside and just go for walks, and take some time for yourself, then it's less likely to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's really worthwhile in so many ways. Yeah.
Going back to your talking about time and that, I always had this, or someone told, it might have been Tony actually, he might have told me this, but he was like, there's basically three parts of the day: morning, afternoon, evening, and you should just work 2 of those. So whether it's an afternoon and an evening, or a morning and an evening, you take one of them off.
Wow.
And that should help. So, most people might work morning, afternoon, take the evening off. But say like you are not really a morning person, so you could just relax, take it slow in the morning and then work the afternoon, the evening. But you have to make sure that you don't work in that morning slot.
That's a great idea. I haven't ever thought of it in that way.
Me
But,
too.
It makes sense.
I feel like Tony could be great with like time management class, like on Skillshare or something.
I've often said to him, I said, you would be great for artists, Tony. I just think,
Honestly, can Tony come to our podcast and have a chat with like the time management? I think he would be brilliant. Honestly.
he is good at that. I feel like he is like my manager, like he's like he looks out for me in that way. So
Oh, that's lovely. I feel like Dominic, I said to him earlier, he's like how did I put it? I kind of look to him for creative direction, is how I put it. It's like if I'm struggling with something, like to have another pair of eyes on something is really invaluable. And I often will call him in when I'm struggling with a painting and say, look, do you think this is working? And he'll be really honest with me. Yes. And you need that, don't you? Do you ever do that?
Art critic.
Crixus, with your husband, do you involve him?
Yes, he's the biggest art critic of my work. But also he's the person who buys a lot of technical things and do research. He researched the camera
Yes.
I have. He researched the microphone
Yes.
I have.
Oh, that's so
and
brilliant.
I'm not
Yeah.
that kind of person, so it's good.
Exactly. That's what, Tony does that as well. It's just an invaluable resource to have that, because I'm just like, I can't be
Yeah.
bothered to go through with the reviews and
Yeah.
Just like imagine like watching video of 20 minutes comparing
I
5
know.
different microphones.
And yes.
Oh, it's so tedious, isn't it?
so, yeah.
I want to film already, and and sometimes just like before I want to like jump straight in and start filming, and the Kosi comes here and he checks if I have everything set up correctly.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So yeah,
That's
Aw.
cool. They would like all have their kind of...
They all have their areas of speciality.
yes,
They could just come and do a podcast together themselves, couldn't they? And talk about what they do to help their artist in their life.
honestly, that would be funny mixed together.
Oh gosh, wouldn't it be brilliant? I can just imagine it.
They'll probably just be looking blankly at each other though and go, I don't know why they've got us doing this.
Yeah,
Oh, I'll tell Dominic about this later. He'll laugh at this.
Oh, well, I think we've shared things that are helpful now, and maybe we could finish then with any final tips to avoid creative burnout.
Yeah, I have one thing that I didn't mention actually, which is prioritizing. I've really learned to prioritize. Like, instead of taking on absolutely everything, which I was always tempted to do up until that point, and overstretching myself and burning out, I now kind of weigh things up and think, is it really worth my time and effort taking on this project? And there was a project recently that I actually spoke to my patrons about it, but I won't mention exactly what it is now on the podcast, but it could have been a really amazing project with quite a big company, and I turned it down because I didn't want to devote the time to it that it would have taken. I just felt like it was going to be something that, although it could have been very lucrative and really good for raising my profile, it would have taken me away from all of the other things that I'm really loving doing and that I'm concentrating on. And it would have just been me spreading myself too thinly again. So, and in danger of burnout. So I would say prioritising and saying no to things has become something that I'm okay with doing now. I will say no instead of taking on everything.
Yeah.
I think following your health is good, because I recently had some health problems, and I think my body was telling me to just slow down a little bit, because although I don't have burnout now, I felt like if I would go the same direction as I went like 2 months ago, it would eventually go up to that point. But because I listened to my body, and I had like some stomach issues which are disappearing now, but I had like stomach pain for 1 month, which is really strange. And and during that month I was like really stressed out and anxious, but I just tried to slow down. And I think like it's connected with like overworking, so it's good to listen to your body when you are going in your day-to-day life and seeing how you feel physically and mentally as well.
Yeah, your body will always tell you.
Yeah.
You have to listen to it, yeah, for sure. I'm so glad that your stomach is a lot better though, Grixis. This is really good.
Yeah, my final thing would be to write down everything you need to do each day, and then, as Natasha says, prioritise. But I find just writing it down in a list is really helpful for me. I'm one of these people who needs to see what I have to do, and that just helps me, because then I can break those things down further. So if I am feeling like I've got a very busy week, then I can see exactly when I'm going to do that, rather than just trying to hold it all in my head. Bring it onto paper.
Yeah, I find lists really useful. I have so many on the go at any one time, but it helps, doesn't it, taking it out of your head and just putting it down somewhere.
Yeah, just writing it actually just helps you kind of go, oh yeah, I can do that. And another thing, one other thing, don't be afraid to ask someone else to help.
Oh yeah. Mel, completely agree.
Yeah, I know that recently Crix has helped edit one of the episodes, and that was a massive help. So yeah, it's important, I think, to be able to ask for help, especially if you know you're going to be busy or if things are happening, just to be, like you say, honest about what you're going through and ask.
Yeah, be honest with people and realise that you don't have to say yes to everything if it doesn't feel right or you already feel overloaded with things. It's okay to say no and just explain to people your reasons.
And like also coming back to the list, I think it's great not only write them down, but when you do something, when you tick the box, it's such a good feeling.
Oh yeah.
And like you done something in the day and it just like brings you that kind of joy of just this one task.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. I actually just take a big marker and just cross it off.
Yes. Oh, it's funny, like with just big marker.
So our listener question today is from Angela Welsh, and she asks, to what extent do you inspire one another?
Well, I already know how you two inspire me. Do you want to hear?
Yes.
Okay, I would say, Mel, you inspire me with your sketchbook work. You inspire me to actually use them and to not be scared to use them.
Oh.
And I would say, Crixus, I would say I'm most inspired by the colours she uses, her colour palettes and the way she uses colour in her work.
Yeah.
And I think for both of you, I'm inspired by your work ethic. I think watching what you do sort of, I don't know, gives me motivation, I guess. So what about you, Crixus?
Okay, so for me, Mel is inspiring me to go outside and to sketch a little bit more outside. I have noticed that I sketch now a little bit more outside. Like I used to do it more few years ago, and then I stopped, and then I met Mel again, and now I want to sketch a little bit more outside.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
thank you, Mel. And Natasha is inspiring me to... Well, actually, Natasha inspired me to pick up watercolors. So thank you, Natasha.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm like almost like, I don't know, 5 months into watercolors now, which is crazy to think about because...
It is, yeah. I'm so glad that
Thank
you're
you.
loving them.
Oh, yeah. And I think also Natasha also has inspired me with colors and also just mediums. And both of you just inspire me creatively. Whenever I watch your videos or chat with you, you're just really inspiring people.
Oh.
I should have mentioned the videos for both of you, actually. So I love both of your videos.
Yay. It's funny because I feel like exactly the same, I'm going to say. So, Natasha, you inspire me with your vast knowledge on watercolours and, you know, sharing your discoveries with the watercolours. Every time you talk about them, I'm like, oh, I should maybe look at that. Oh, I should find out.
Yeah, I have this. Like, honestly, it's after Natasha's video. Sometimes it's so hard to not go to the website and start looking at the things.
Oh,
It's,
I'm sorry. I don't want to make you spend money, but I do want to inspire you. I do want you to kind of think, oh, wow, I really want to try that.
Yeah, you definitely have opened that
Oh,
up
that's nice.
with me. And then Crixus, your colours, again, similar to what Natasha said, your colour palettes, you just seem to have a real, I don't know if it's intuitive or whether it's just something you've thought about or come to you over time. You know, you're able to put colours together, which just work really well. And that is inspiring and gets me to think a bit harder on what how I'm putting things together, how I'm putting colours together. And I would say both of you on presentation, how you present yourselves, it's a good inspires me in how I do stuff as well. So
Yeah, so I think we definitely inspire each other, don't we? It's like a little circle of inspiration.
yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
That could be our slang, circle of inspiration.
Good.
Well, this is why it's so exciting that we're having a gallery exhibition together. So
Yes.
hopefully that will
I'm so excited about it.
inspire people coming and viewing it. And
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
So from 7th till 13th of October, just a reminder,
yeah, Roskilde Farm, Lizard Peninsula,
Cornwall, UK.
be there.
Or Mel will be after you.
All right, so on that, I want to say bombshell. That's very Jeremy Clarkson. I'm not going to go there. On that round of inspiration, thanks so much for listening and tuning into our latest episode.
Thanks so much for listening and turning into our latest episode.
We hope you'll join us next time on our creative catch-up when we'll be chatting about inspiration and what gets us going, whether that's podcasts, books, movies, art supplies, music or the environment around us. Listen in to find out what lifts and motivates us.
Find us on YouTube at Creative Catchup or Instagram creative.catchup. Until the next episode, 3, 2, 1...
Stay creative.
Boom.
There we go.
Okay.
Actually, that leads on,
Excellent.
doesn't it? The inspiration,
Yes.
to...
Oh yeah, it
From
does, doesn't it?
burnout.
That was a good question.
I will stop recording so it's we can have it.